Bueno, pues aquí estamos otra semana más compartiendo nuestras aventuras CinemaAttic, online, Cuarentena Shorts, 90 short films to entertain you for the next few weeks and months. Here's Alberto. Alberto.
Rafa.
He's so sad to drink alone.
Es un pacharán.
This is a Aperol Spritzer. I woke up all Italian today.
There you go. There will be an Italian touch. Cheers to you.
Cheers, Alberto. Good to see you well. I have to move the studio somewhere else because I'm in this box room in my flat and it's so dark and dingy, and I only realize it when I see you there with natural light and that.
I can go to a darker room if you want.
Yeah. So, what's going on? How's your week?
It's been all right. It's been all right. You all the time. It's a constant struggle between having a routine. All the experts say that you should, like when you're in prison or when you're in a situation of closure, you should force yourself to a routine. And I try that, but it's also a prison, that routine. Like, 7 p.m. reading, 8 p.m. yoga, whatever. Every day becomes the same. So I'm trying to break that every here and there. I'm doing something crazy, sing. I'm starting to do some crazy stuff. How you been?
You want me to stop the video so you can tell me?
How you been?
I'm fine. I'm good. The usual thing. Trying to keep positive. Trying to. I mean, other than the natural disaster, obviously, I managed to be at home. I managed to be
around. Well, let's get started, no? CinemaAttic Cuarentena week 3. For if anyone is new and joining, obviously CinemaAttic is the space for audiovisual activism. It's a space that started 10 years ago in a loft in an attic in Victoria Street in the heart of Edinburgh, and ever since we've been promoting Spanish and Latin American independent films, in particular short films. And this project, Cuarentena, is basically we're celebrating 10 years, and we put together a program of 90 short films, and we will be releasing a program of 7 every week. So for us, it's an excuse to keep a conversation with you, to see what short films do you like, what short films do you vote, what you think about them. So please keep those comments, keep those votes, because they are making us really happy, and hopefully that conversation helps you as well for these weeks of self-isolation. Week 3, and if you want, Rafa, we can crack on with the films. What did you thought about the program? Different, a bit eclectic?
What happens is this program's selection of the best. They are very strong, all of them. But I think it's going even in crescendo. This week, there was no weak short film. They were all very strong. And there's quite a wide choice from the harmless, quite naive animation of Ham to the almost gore, visceras and blood, green blood being spilled in brutal relax. And then obviously, well, I'm not gonna get into saying which one is my favorite. I love them all. There's very important films in this
We
collection.
will get there. But maybe, folks, it's good to see you, all of you, commenting and live. But in general, lines, what you thought about the program this week. It'll be great if you could comment and tell us what you thought about the program this week. Strange, quirky, appealing, anything. Tell us what you thought. And we're going to start talking a bit about them. No, today is going to be different because we're going to be talking about the films for the first 20-25 minutes, and then we're going to do interviews with two great directors. Oi, no, Ricky,
It's
Michael
also,
and Kevin are watching. Hi guys, Colin.
Hi, Enrique. It's also different because today we are not going to attempt to squeeze everything into 45 minutes or 1 hour. Let's try not to make it to finish before Monday, but relax.
Ready for the weekend lasting forever.
We should move it to Friday night, no? And then get some DJs going and things. I love all these watch parties with people DJing from their flats.
Jarvis Cocker, man, is the highlight of.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I know it's online. I want to see it, but friends of mine from Hillsville and people who have very interesting record collections, DJing all vinyl with all these oil lamps that give you the psychedelic, and then the couple dancing, and there's a watch party of people. It's quite a different thing. I miss Actualidad live. I miss going out, guys. Having a few pints, watching a movie, and then go to a nice club and dance a bit.
Shall we crack on with the films?
I don't want to end up with the protagonist of Brutal Relax. What happened to that guy? What happened to me? The film didn't tell us.
Yeah, we were saying that we had, in a way, the program is very maritime, or it has a lot of reminiscence of the sea, of going to the sea, of going to the seaside, and in a very different way. It is, like Brutal Relax have a niche audience that love it. I can see comments and people very passionate saying that it was their favorite film, and there's good reasons for that. I mean, I think I speak for both when I say it's not our cup of tea, maybe, but I mean, there's a point where they take comedy up to a point that is so wild that we just love it. When he crosses that point, when he becomes so outright and pretentiously gore freak funny.
Well, you can tell he's on the verge from the outset because the doctor is quite nervous. He's telling him to get out of here and relax and do what the people does. So the guy has to have a history of I don't know, schizophrenia, or violence, and it takes only a battery running out on in his Walkman or whatever it is, to trigger the beast he has inside. And luckily this time the fury can be aimed at all these aliens coming out of the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh my God, it's so wild. And I don't know if you remember, in some lists is in the top lists of best Spanish films. In some others is in the top of worst Spanish films ever. A film called
which is an achievement in its own.
Karate a muerte en Torremolinos.
It's the same people, isn't it?
No, I don't think so. It's different team, but it's obviously the influence of Jess Franco and this type of horror, kitsch horror films.
Yeah.
So unique. But you can see that and Sitges Film Festival particularly has been the launchpad, for all these genre horror films in Spain. But you see some masters out there. I mean, Vigalondo is in the program too, and he's kind of part of that generation of fantastic directors.
There's always been from Jesse Franco, and before that, there's so many people touching the horror genre and doing it so well. I mean, Rec is a master classic already. You know that we offered these films in open because the owners of the film, the directors, the distribution companies, decided to make them public. So it's great, but it's also great. Did you notice the Brutal Relax here on our post in CinemaAttic.com is offered by none other than Feast of Jesus. And I encourage you all to follow Feast of Jesus. And at your own risk, CinemaAttic cannot be made responsible of anything that you do to your dog or your cat after watching Feast of Jesus.
I will, as usual, Rafa, even if it's online, we we contradict each other, because I will tell everyone not to go and watch first Feast of Jesus yet, because he's going to be in one of the future programs.
No. Feast of Jesus is the guy who is kind of collecting all these films. So, you know, he's the guy who offered the Brutal Relax copy with the English subtitles and that. And I haven't even seen what other videos he offers, but this is the name and his profile picture that make me think, oof.
It's the same team. They did a short film, Feast of Jesus, and it's the same premise, but taken to Jerusalem some time ago. so imagine what can come out of that.
Well, Roman movies.
It's definitely not our type of film. If you come to CinemaAttic, you will realize we don't play a lot, or we don't embrace fully some type of genre cinema, yet zombies are always in our heart, and every here and then we like a good zombie comedy. So there you go. And I think you're going to see the program in general, we will talk about this, but unintentionally, many of the films in the program this week are deconstructing typical maybe American films, you know, like the zombie comedy or the musical in the case of 735, no? Or even sci-fi films when Chema Garcia Ibarra is doing The Attack of Nebulosa. You know, it's really taking what a sci-fi film or a zombie film, an American mainstream blockbuster zombie film will be, and rip it apart. So that's what we like about these films, you know, just rethink the codes.
We should give all the shorts at the same time, but the Brutal Relax, one of the scary things about a film is that there is certain production. Okay, it's not Hollywood, but there are lots
of VFX, yeah.
Lots of people there. It's a long film. There's those people coming out of the sea. There is a bit of a production. There is not that I just call my friends and let's do a zombie movie in a cove, because what else you can do with your afternoon? This one is being prepared, and that makes me wonder. Moving to the next one.
Yeah, another approach to the seaside, radically different, poetic, using archive film, incredibly emotional. I think we were talking before the live Vermut, and okay, we don't have a favorite, but this one really touched us. No.
Well, it's a film that really got us from the very first time, and I don't remember when we show it first. Probably Catalan Festival, the first one we did with Mark Riba.
Then before that, I think it was also it was key, but I remember it was in Summer Hall. We showed it in Summer Hall sometime in 2015. In spring 2015.
That long ago, gosh.
Yeah.
We showed it a couple of times. I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times, and still I find things, and still I like it. The bit of documentary and fiction mix so well before all this trend of fictional documentaries, and the way the protagonist is not present, is already gone, but there's a voice enough, there's a letter. It's his friend, his last friend. That's so poetic. The memory of what happens to you disappears when your grandchildren dies, if you have them. And you have the last friend, which doesn't look that healthy himself, doesn't look like he's going to be around for so long. And all that memory, all those items, artifacts, the collection of a life obsession with everything sea on sailing is so sad and so beautiful, and so I love this film. I can recommend it to absolutely everyone.
Yeah, it's really funny because we were going to be talking later probably as well about public and domestic, and in this case, these guys, El Cangrejo, they're a production company based in Barcelona, I think, or somewhere in Catalonia. Roger Gomez, Dani Resines, and Chris Sanchez mainly. and they specialized in this, in using domestic videotapes, Super 8 tapes, domestic films, and domestic documents like letters to build, a slightly fictionalized script and make this film, and make these films. Because then we showed Luis and I as well in a Catalan film festival, and they do this very well, and they play with a material that is very sensible, no?
Luis and I was the one about the cannonball man, no?
Yeah, the woman from Liverpool that leaves everything to go with the cannonball Spanish man.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
it's really brilliant. And there's a point in the film that you think it's just a beautiful story about friendship and and Loki, and then you see there's a point when the whole story of the carp, and you see all those buses coming, and the guy was a big touristic attraction back in the day, and it almost takes you to a different layer. He elevates the film, the importance of the character to a different level.
It has so much information, but all the details, all the artifacts that he has collected, the fact that the letter is typewritten, you notice it's not handwritten, or it's not a print or an email, it's a typewritten letter. So that is, I mean, guys, the films will stay in our website, so you can watch these collections we are making forever until the authors obviously remove the link, but I don't think that can happen anytime soon. So they are there for you to watch once and again if you want. So I think for me, this all the pesos will be the one I say, you are gonna watch one short film twice, this would be it. But we have another 6 more. The next one, Alberto?
Yeah, Jamón, no?
Jamón.
I'm conscious about time. Should we leave Ataque and 7:35 for the end? Because I think we're going to have time to do Jamón, Bird Boy, and maybe say hi to our first guest.
Venga, whatever. So Jamón now, and then 7:35 and Ataque after.
Yeah, let's do that. Jamón, and I think it works well, because you can put short films into pairs in this program, like Brutal Relax and Domador de Peixos, and Bird Boy and Jamón work really well because both use animals and animation and traditional fables and tales with animals to really change, obviously, the codes and the lines of kids animation for a more adult animation in 2 very different ways. No, this Jamón is a tale of acceptance, but it's also I really like how it depicts all this, but it's not at the front, it's in the background. All this culture, all this Spanishness from the name of the character, no, José with acento en la E. There you go. We have a guest talking about animals. Say hi, Lolo.
Lolo, este es Lolito, también llamado Joy y Maximus. Y no le gusta mucho a él lo de salir en televisión. Probably broadcast. Alberto Vazquez is waiting to come in. Let's talk about Bird Boy, okay?
Yes, let's do that. Bird Boy, another animal, beautiful fable, but going in a very different route, no? Pessimistic, dark in a way. It's a love story, it's classic.
Hola.
Alberto,
speak of the devil. Hola, Alberto.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
How are you?
Fine. I just finished the eating, and now I'm prepared.
What was in the menu? What did you have for lunch?
Arroz con acelgas, rice with, I don't know what, how do you say acelgas in English?
You got me there. Chard, I think it's chard. Rice with chard. Nice. And where are you, Alberto? Are you in A Coruña?
In La Coruña, right now. Yes, at home.
At home. Good, good. Well, I think we're gonna be joined by our beloved interpreter and translator Fiona Bailey for the chat. I know Alberto, as you can see, speaks English, but some concepts and ideas work best if you do it in your own language. So Fiona is going to join us to follow. Rafa,
Yes,
do you know
I
if Fiona is joining us? Or
Hi, Fiona. How are you?
Hi,
hey,
Fiona.
there you go. Hola, Fiona.
Alberto, for the sake of the meeting, I think I'm going to leave Alberto Vazquez and Fiona on a spot, and you and I in the back. So our voices are heard, but people won't see us.
Better.
Okay.
They're also prettier and more handsome than us.
That's easy. That's easy.
And more interesting. Alberto, we were just talking about Bird Boy, and really the whole program this week spans from positive to negative, optimism to negativism. What, I don't know, it's a 10-year journey. Bird Boy, since the first comics to the short film, then it developed into Psychonautas. What is Bird Boy today for you? Like, do you want to forget about Bird Boy, or do you still remember Bird Boy? Do you plan maybe to tell us what is Bird Boy for you today?
El cortometraje, ¿te refieres?
El personaje en sí. Si lo quieres olvidar o lo tienes cerca, o
no,
planeas trabajar con él.
Digamos que lo que ocurrió con mi Psiconautas, que es este cómic que yo publiqué, pues mira, en el año 2006. Este es bueno, puedes traducir, Fiona, si quieres.
Okay, well, Bird Boy, really, to talk about the character of Bird Boy, I'm going to go back to Psychonauts, which is this comic here that I published in 2006.
Sí. Digamos que este fue el primer cómic que yo hice en el que me di cuenta que lo que yo quería hacer, que lo que yo tenía que hacer era un poco mis propias historias, ¿no? Es como mi primer trabajo de autor.
So this was the first time that I realized that my journey was about telling my own story. So this was the start of my journey in this respect.
Sí. Y fue muy importante porque fue la primera vez que yo lo que quería hacer, lo que me di cuenta era que tenía que hablar de las historias que yo conocía, es decir, trabajar con mis propios recuerdos y mis propias memorias, aunque trabaje con fantasía.
So this was the first time I realized that I had to tell stories about things that I knew about my own memories, even though I was working in the realm of fantasy.
El personaje de Bird Boy, aunque es un pájaro que está aprendiendo a volar, un hombre pájaro, y todos los personajes que aparecen en Psiconautas tienen mucho que ver con amigos míos o historias de amigos míos.
So Bird Boy, even though the character is a sort of bird boy, and also in Psychonauts, all these characters relate to friends of mine or to stories about my friends.
Entonces, bueno, el personaje de Bird Boy y todos los personajes que están en este cómic y en el corto y en la película, pues bueno, ha pasado mucho tiempo y ya me he distanciado de ellos. Pero bueno, les tengo muchísimo cariño y sigo pensando en ellos. De hecho, ayer volví a ver Psiconautas, que llevaba sin verla 5 años.
Olé.
So even though time has passed and these are still characters that, I have a great deal of fondness for. In fact, I even watched Psychonauts recently, and it's been 5 years since I've watched it. So yes, I hold them very dear.
Sí,
Mhm.
la vi ayer, la he visto ayer la película porque la han subido a la página de televisión española.
See, well, we saw your announcement of being finally on Spanish TV, which is an achievement of its own. But we were so excited about the news of another one of your short films being turned into a feature film. I'm talking about Unicorn's Blood. And we follow a bit what was happening there with you, and then we speak with Chris Sembe, and we were hoping to watch it very soon, but tell us a bit what happened there. Fiona, you want to translate my...
No,
Oh.
entiendo.
Do you?
Bueno,
My English must be improving.
estamos trabajando en la siguiente película que, como dice Rafa, se llama Unicorn Wars, que está basado en un corto que yo hice hace 9 años también, o 8, que se llama Unicorn Blood.
Mhm. So yes, we've been working on a new film called Unicorn Wars, which is based on a short film that I did 8 years ago called Unicorn Blood.
Estamos empezando la producción, o sea, la preproducción ya está prácticamente hecha y teníamos un local aquí en La Coruña y estábamos trabajando un equipo de 6 personas. Pero con esto del coronavirus hemos tenido que volvernos a nuestras casas.
Yes, we were in the stage of we'd completed the pre-production and we'd moved to production. We had a place in which to do the work, and we had 6 people employed to do it, but sadly because of coronavirus we had to abandon it for now.
Pero bueno, seguimos trabajando en casa y es una producción hecha entre Galicia, País Vasco, Francia y Extremadura.
Exotic.
Yes, but fortunately we're able to carry on working from home on this project, so it hasn't stopped altogether, and it's a collaboration with Galicia, the Basque Country, France and Extremadura as well.
Exacto. Y bueno, estamos súper contentos con la película ya está como montada su animática, su diseño de personajes, tenemos backgrounds acabados, o sea, la película estamos muy contentos, es una película bélica que cuenta como una guerra entre unos osos de peluche y unos unicornios que viven en el bosque mágico. Pero la verdadera historia es una guerra interna entre 2 hermanos que son mellizos o gemelos por el amor de su madre, ¿no? Es un poco...
Yes, well, we're very happy with how it's going so far. We have managed to work on things like the characters and the backgrounds, and what this film revolves around is a story between teddy bears and unicorns who are in a war, and in particular twin brothers who are fighting over the love of their mother.
Sí. Y bueno, es un proyecto más ambicioso que Psiconautas, con más presupuesto y mucho más complejo a nivel de animación, de diseño de personajes y de historia. Y creo que es un paso adelante en nuestro trabajo.
It's a much more complex project than Psychonauts because the budget is bigger, it's a more complex piece of work, the characters are more developed, so is the story. So yes, it's a real sort of step up for me.
Alberto, it's more ambitious, but I don't know what can come after, because you know, this gentleman at the other side of the camera in A Coruña, with very independent short film, animated short film, and with his first feature, has already 3 Goya Awards. I think you got César, or it was César nominations. So I don't know what can come next, really. What I love about the films of Alberto is that they are incredibly universal. Yes, you're watching the story of a bird and a wee rat or another animal or unicorns and teddy bears, but there is environmental issues. There is incredibly, I mean, the primal issues of good and bad, evil, and as you are saying, and love for mother, and very, very universal topics in your films.
Sí, bueno, yo creo que esto de trabajar con animales antropomorfos que no tienen un lugar ni un tiempo, sino que son, como tú dices, universales y a lo mejor y anacrónicos de alguna manera, es interesante porque cualquier espectador o de cualquier país se puede sentir, ¿cómo decir?, reflejado, porque los animales no tienen tiempo, ni lugar, ni cultura, y es interesante trabajar con los iconos infantiles para hablar de temáticas adultas.
Yes, it's very interesting to work with animals or anthropomorphic characters because they are timeless and they're universal. And really anybody, it's interesting to do this because anybody can connect with these characters. They don't belong to a particular place or a time, so, or a culture. So I quite like these figures associated with childhood because they're easy to, people can connect easily with them.
That's right.
Well, our friend Stuart Murdoch is telling us that acelgas in English is called Swiss chard. So Alberto was closest.
Great.
So Alberto, what else is there? I think we have a bit of a...
We were talking about homeless home and festivals, no? This is something that obviously people cannot see, but it has an impact on creators.
Alberto jumping on me like usual, and then making it very difficult because the communications here, digital era, doesn't invite.
Yeah. Let me pose this question because we were talking about this the other day with Alberto, and Alberto, if I'm not wrong, had a short film it was about to release, and it was going to be premiered in the biggest animation festival in the world, and that's not going to be possible because, I mean, it's going to be, the whole festival is going online, and that is not the same, no? We were saying.
It's not the same.
Tell us, it was Annecy, no? Well, I don't know if it can be said, because maybe it's official. Annecy hasn't announced the program yet.
El miércoles se publican la lista de cortos seleccionados en el Festival de Annecy a competición y acabamos de terminar un nuevo corto que se llama Homeless Home y está seleccionado. Ahora os hablaré del corto y bueno, puedes traducir, Fiona.
Sí. Yes. On Wednesday, the Annecy Festival published its shortlist of films, and one of our new short animations called Homeless Home is on this shortlist.
Sí, claro. Bueno, es una lástima no poder acudir este año al festival porque es el festival más importante del mundo y también para mí es un sitio que ya he ido 5 años, ya he acudido 5 años al festival, 5 veces, y es un sitio que me interesa mucho para ver muchísima animación, para poder ver los cortos, películas, y bueno, este año se va a hacer online por la crisis del COVID-19, ¿no? Y hombre, es un poco decepcionante, ¿no? Pero hay que entender que lo que prima es la salud y la seguridad.
Yes, it's a shame that although we're shortlisted, I'm not going to be able to go because it's one of the most important film festivals in the world. I've been going there for 5 years and I really find it a very interesting place because I get to see lots of other animation short films and longer films. This year it's going to be held online and that's a real shame, but it's because of COVID-19, but obviously health and safety really has to come first.
Yeah.
Alberto, but potentially online you have chances for more people to watch your film than on a theater. But you miss going to the festival.
Claro.
What are you missing?
Exactly. That posed a question. Rafa posed a really interesting question. That is, what is a festival? Or now maybe we realize what is the important part of a festival, because you're going to be able to see the films, but that element of people coming together.
Digamos que para mí el festival, ir a festivales es el verdadero premio de hacer cortometrajes. Es decir, poder viajar por todo el mundo, poder conocer un montón de trabajos de otros cortometrajes o películas y poder verlas en un cine, en pantalla grande y compartir con los espectadores preguntas y respuestas, es el verdadero premio para mí de hacer cortometrajes.
For me, the real prize of doing short films is the festivals, to be able to travel, to get to see other people's work and to watch it in a cinema on a big screen, share it with others and take part in questions and answers. This to me is the real prize of being in my line of work.
Sí, porque la vida de un animador o un dibujante es una vida muy solitaria. Es una vida en la que trabajas prácticamente solo, sobre todo haciendo cortometrajes, porque aunque tenemos un equipo siempre de gente, trabajamos siempre online, ¿no? Como, bueno, cada uno en su casa, por Dropbox y esto, ¿no? Para hacer cortometrajes, para hacer largometrajes, no. Y entonces es el momento de juntarte con el equipo, ir al festival, hablar con unos, conocer a otra gente y hacer relaciones profesionales, laborales y personales. Y en este caso, pues no va a ser.
Yeah, the life of an animator or an illustrator is quite lonely, especially when you work in short films. Although you have a team to work with, a lot of the collaboration is done online, for example, through Dropbox. So really festivals are a time when we all get together, we chat, we meet up, when we form professional relationships.
Yeah. Some good and some bad professional relationships, because as an anecdote, I think the reason why we're here is because it was 3 years ago, in Clermont-Ferrand, in a dark space with some light music, I jumped into Alberto and I told him, "Hey, Alberto, I like your stuff. Have you been in Scotland?" And 2 years or 18 months later, we were putting together one of the projects that I'm most proud of. We've been doing together as a team. That was this total retrospective to your work, with exhibition, with an exhibition in CCA in Glasgow, in Summerhall. I don't know what you remember of those days. It was about a week, 5-6 days.
Yes.
That you were here in Scotland. What do you remember, Alberto?
I remember totally. Sí, estuvo muy bien. Creo que fueron 5 días en los que hicimos muchísimas actividades. Pusimos la película 2 veces, creo. Se dieron charlas en una escuela. Se hizo una exposición. Fuimos a Glasgow también. Estuvo muy bien y muy completo.
Yep, I remember it well. I enjoyed it. I believe I spent 5 days with you. We got a lot of things done. We had 2 showings of the film, and we visited a school, and there was an exhibition, and we went to Glasgow, from what I remember. So yes, it was very good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm sure the students from the College of Art in Edinburgh are still remembering your acting characters workshop, 24 hours. Working with them, building and destroying characters.
I don't know if you remember.
As Alberto is saying, that was one of the first times we got, well, not private. We got a derelict basement, and we recovered it to create that exhibition space and screening space. So it was an abandoned basement that we cleaned, paint, and decorate and set up a cinema. It was a good adventure.
Yeah, it was your idea, Rafa. I was saying there's no way we're gonna do this. There's no way.
CinemaAttic are in reality mine. Sometimes I let you.
Rafa is always the crazy driving force. If it was for me, we would just be comfortable doing always the same stuff. Thankfully, we have Rafa.
Alberto, there's a problem with your connection. You're about to disappear from this meeting. No. Guys, let's keep it. We have him back. We have guests. Alberto, please. Well, have you had a chance, Alberto Vazquez, to see
No.
That's our whole budget, goes on weeks. Our whole budget. Alberto Vazquez, have you had a chance to see the program we offered this week, including Bird Boy and other films?
Yes, I've seen it.
Yes. Jamón is there. Have you seen or do you remember this short film Jamón, animated as well?
Sí, yes, from Iria Lopez. Iria Lopez is a girl who studied with mine in fine arts, and she lived very near from my home, to 5 minutes walking. But now she lives in London.
Mm-hmm. In a way, yeah, we try to pay them so there will be two or some similarities, animated, fables, into very different ways in the program.
Sí. Pues es un gran cortometraje.
Yes.
Well, we have another guest coming up in a few minutes and a few other films to talk about. Alberto, week, do you want to leave it there?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's always too short. Obviously, having Alberto Vazquez at the other side, you could be talking, with a glass of wine or with a whiskey for hours and hours. But I'm cautious about time as well. Gracias, Alberto. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Fiona, for the translation, and thanks, Rafa and Alberto. I hope see you soon.
Sure, you
Hope
will.
so.
You're very welcome.
And thanks to the audience.
Bye, Alberto.
Bye.
Adios.
Adiós.
Bye.
Bye, Fiona.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And yes, I love the hair. Very nice. Suits you.
I promise to show you a different one every week.
Yes,
Fiona, I don't know if Maria Elorza wants to speak English or Spanish or Basque.
She said she's going to give it a try in English. So, but if not, we may text you back to get back in.
Well, do you want me to? I'll keep checking my phone then. Let me know if you.
Yes, I would say hang on a bit or watch it online or whatever.
Yeah.
Hang
Okay.
on. It's okay. What are we going to do now, Alberto? I need to refill my glass.
So do I, and I think it is related to the guest we're going to welcome in a minute. Do you want to go first?
So hold on a second. We can put a clip of a film or something like that.
Gure Ormek, if we have to talk, the next film, Gure Ormek, Our Walls, is quite a special film for us as well, and it's quite timely because it touches on domestic space. We're talking about these notions of what is public, what is private, and the domestic space, and oppression of how four walls can be a jail or a prison sometimes, and we all feel like that now. This was a film made about 2 years ago, if I'm not wrong. So it's not made now, but it resonates very well with what is happening in our lives now. It's because in particular it touches with how four walls have been a prison for women in history, in the past, and it goes in so many different directions. Testimonies, cross-generational, 3 different generations of women, simply talking, simply discussing domestic aspects, from the order of books in a shelf, from making holes in a wall. Rafa, I'm making time, so you go for a drink.
Oh.
No,
I was waiting for you to come. Shut up, so I could put a clip of Bird Boy, and then we can both go.
Go ahead. 1 minute to top up the glass.
Okay. See you in a minute. Don't go
Okay, see you in a
anywhere.
minute. Then I'll come
If
back.
Alberto gets too heavy, just turn the volume down.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know if there was a clip or not, but look what I have, Fiona.
Ah, albóndigas. Ah,
A wee
gracias.
snack, a wee snack for the Vermut.
Muy bien. Ajá.
Right.
So how many wigs do you own?
How many weeks? We aim that the project is going to last 12, 13 weeks.
Oh no, wigs.
Oh, weeks. Sorry.
Wigs, sorry.
Between my partner and I, we probably have a collection of about 20 weeks. So I go weeks for the whole project.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes. I'm well prepared. And some of these things, help you to get through the routine and the self-isolation.
Yes. Yeah. So were you wearing a wig the first time you met Rafa?
Probably. Yes. How you getting on with self-isolation, Fiona?
Well, there's not a lot we can do, is there? Just have to try and use the time as best we can. So it's not bad. I quite like doing things at home and in the garden, and so I'm keeping busy, but like everybody, just worried how long this is going to last and how we come out of this.
Yeah, exactly. And if we will come and everything will be normal, or we will be transformed, or we will interact in a different way. Big questions, I guess.
I guess it makes us look at films like you were mentioning, Four Walls. It makes you think about this in a really different light, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think this particular film is so timely for what we are living and experiencing these days. I don't know what the people think. If they felt related somehow, they can tell us there in the chat.
Well, but thank you very much. I got my Aperol Spritzer topped up. Have you contacted Maria about the link, Alberto?
I'm just telling Maria. And a special thanks. I'm starting to know, because it's really an interesting tool for communication with our audience, and it's so great to see that some of our usuals, people like Val, Monica, Davide, Alan, Colin, are staying in touch, are joining the Vermut, are voting, are commenting. But it's also great to find a lot of new people that are engaging, are voting every week. People that I didn't have in the radar, a cinematic audience, are joining. So it's really great.
It's very good. I mean, also it's great, Alberto. We keep doing the same silly stuff we do live, but this is not live. I mean, it's live now, obviously. Ooh, Checo. Yes.
I'm raising the bar.
But this is staying. The other day I watched a bit of the first week we did, and it's a bit. We need to behave because this is going to posterity. Okay, everybody, welcome Maria Elorza to the meeting. Hello.
Hey.
Uno, Kaisho.
You already know Alberto. And then we have also Fiona, which is gonna, if you needed help
Hola.
with interpretation.
Okay. I will try to speak in English, and I think that I can make it, but
Okay,
it's great to know that I can have help.
I'll be a backup.
Yes, and for the sake of symmetry, it's better as we are, 4 people. Eh? Maria, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. Where are you? Where are you based? Where all this crisis got you?
I'm in San Sebastian at my home. It's in the north of Spain, in the Basque country, very close to the frontier with France.
Great, great. So we were talking about how timely is Gure Ormek, no? Because these 4 walls, these walls are our prison now. And in a way, it was one of the layers of your film, one of the things you were trying to put forward. And it can be more timely these days, don't you think so?
Maybe it can, and of course in these days that the domestic space and home has become the center of our daily life, I think that Gure Ormek, our walls, can help us look at our intimacy. When we made it, I think that it was also speaking about the current situation. I mean, when we did it, it was a period like now in which we are all the time exposed in the social media. We are all the time showing our intimacy, but many times we are not looking at the real, the truth of our intimate life at home, the everyday life of many people, of our families, of our mothers and grandmothers. And yes, I think that it can be read in many different ways. And I think that now also it's interesting to look at the inside part of our walls.
The life that happens in our walls, no?
Mm-hmm.
We were talking with Fiona just before Rafa came in, and it really touches what you were saying, no? Now we're here, we're closed, and it's week 3, 4 in Spain, I think, and we're adapting. But at the beginning, we were all so crazy to do yoga classes, book sessions, to watch theater, to watch a film, to fill time, to be busy, and maybe not enjoy that intimate space, that everyday life at home.
Of course, I totally agree. I think that in the last century we have lost the knowledge of being at home, of being not all the time busy with things, no? And I don't know. I see, apart from the dramatic situation we are living, I also think that it can teach us many things and show us to be at home in another way, no? And I think, yes, that in the first days we were leaving the home in a way, and when the days go by, I think that we are readapting and changing our way of being at home.
And Gure Ormek, if I'm not wrong, started as a response to public space, no private space.
Yes, it was interesting because we did Gure Ormek in the 2016. That year, San Sebastian, our city, was the capital of culture in Europe, and in San Sebastian they were making a lot of art and culture programs. Among of them, they decided to make a program about street art. And in that context, I and Maider Fernandez, the partner with who I did the short movie, were asked to make a video in this context of street art with a kind of slogan that was speaking walls, no? Walls that speak. And we started filming the streets of San Sebastian. The first sequence we did was a sequence in different streets of the city, and we changed the names of these streets, giving them women names. But then we started also to look at the other side of the walls, not the public side, but the inside side, no? the domestic side. Because in some sense, we asked ourselves if we had a big wall, if we were muralists and we had a big wall in the public space to show something, what would we like to show in that wall? And my answer was, I would like to show the everyday life of many people that are not famous, that do not do epic things, that are not like heroes in a traditional way, but that are heroes in their home, that do domestic heroism, that do epic things in the everyday lives, no? And I filmed an interview with my mother, telling her experience with the drill, making holes in the wall of the home, because it was a remembrance that I had from my childhood. My mother was widow. She lost her husband when she was 42, so she was alone at home with me and my sister, and she had to do this kind of things. And I think that for her it was very dramatic. The first time after losing her husband, she wanted to make a hole in the wall, and she didn't know how. So I really remember this thing like a very dramatic thing that happened in my childhood. So I thought, I really want to talk about this. I don't want to tell about, I don't know, famous or public things. I want to tell that there are many people that are doing these epic things in their everyday life, no? And that's the things that I care about.
Is Rafa? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, no, the short film we showed it when first came in, I believe in CinemaAttic collection, and I think CinemaAttic has been showing CinemaAttic collection every year for the last 10 or more years. But then last year we had this experiment. We created a pincho scroll with in Leithwalk in Edinburgh, and we had 3 pubs to show free short films from CinemaAttic and offer free pinchos. And it was quite a success. I mean, we got the weather and we got the public, even football fans came over, and we showed your Ancora Lucchiole short film, which is was one of the, in my opinion, modest opinion, the strongest, one of the strongest on the last years. Well, where are you now with this? I mean, is it still going, or are you working on a next project, or?
Okay, Ancora Lucciole was made in the 2018, I think. So it was premiered like in November of 2018. So it's more than a year that it has been moving. Yeah. So more or less, it has finished its way. Yes, its exhibition. Punctually, maybe somebody asks me to show it, or now with this crisis, some festivals that I are making online program have asked me to show it online, but I think that it's more or less over. So now I am starting with a new project. I'm still in the very beginning of the process. I am writing, filming a little bit, but just with my domestic camera, like in a very small way. And I don't know, I hope it will be a long movie. It's a documentary, so I don't know. I'm just starting. It's a project about libraries, about the books that women have at their homes. My mother has been a literature teacher for her life at the University of the Basque Country, and she taught Italian literature, but she has a lot of friends that have taught different literatures, no, English or German, and I would like to show these different women with their books at home and their relationship with the literature.
Caro Bastiano.
Yes.
Caro Bastiano. Yes, that's right. It's really interesting.
Caro Bastiano is another project I am starting to work at. But,
all
yes.
right. Couple of them in the maid, no. But regarding the project about books, and I think probably, I don't know if you were there last year for Punto de Vista in Pamplona in 2019, but the film that won was shown here as well by Luke Fowler. I'll probably try to get in touch because it touches on this. It's the memory of his mother, and in this case, her papers. She's a teacher as well. Mom's Cards, Luke Fowler. I think he won the Best Short Film Award in Punto de Vista last year, and it just connects.
Okay, great. No, I missed it, so thank you. If then you can give me the reference, it would be really great.
No, will do.
When are we going to see another work by Las Chicas de Basque?
It will be difficult because now Maider is living in Barcelona. In fact, we finished Gure Ormek when we were already physically separated. She was in Barcelona and I was here in San Sebastian, and it was quite difficult to work that way. So I don't know, in the very near future, I think it will be difficult. Then Maider now, she made a new film, Las Letras de Jordi. She's working in other things now, and me too, but you never know.
Yeah, no, it's for us was incredibly appealing, the work you did together as Las Chicas of Pasaic. But then when you do your solo works, both Las Letras de Jordi in a way and Love Always, Maider short films, and Ancora Luchole, as Rafa was saying.
Ancora Luchole.
You were brilliant in two very different ways, but we were incredibly appealing body of work both together and in your solo careers. So yeah, and we were talking the other day, Maria, as well, about the formal aspect of Gure Ormek or some type of video quality that now we start to see. Now all the TV programs, everything is filmed in this format, low quality with our cameras, Skype interviews, Zoom interviews. And in Gure Ormek, you play with that, to tell domestic stories, you play with a type of digital camera and a production that is fit for that, no?
Yes.
But now also it becomes incredibly relevant because everyone has to use those means.
Yes. When we made Gure Ormek, it was, I think, it was like a mixture of two factors. The first reason was that in that period, we were really doing our first works, so we didn't have a very good equipment, so we had to work with the poor material we had. And anyway, on the other side, I think that there are many things that you can't film with a professional camera, no? I think that when, for example, when I was interviewing my mother, or Maider was interviewing her grandmother in a very funny sequence in which they are asking her to pose like in a very old painting she has from her youth, and all the family is like giving her orders in a very ugly way, but it's also funny, but in a way it's also dramatic, the way they are speaking to the grandmother, no? And I think that if Maider would have been there with a professional camera, they wouldn't have behaved in that way. They wouldn't have been natural. They would have been more like serious and more delicate with the grandmother. And I think that the only way to film those kind of sequences is just with a little camera where anybody is really realizing that that's like serious cinema. They think that it's just something you do I don't know, for fun or for yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that it's the new equipments allow us to do this. I think that it's also like a fashion question, or like I think that it's now it has become popular, and it's also like something that people use without a need, not just to have that look. But I think that in many cases it's also necessary. It's not only an aesthetic choice, but it's also like something you need to do to have that atmosphere.
Yeah, and really sometimes it can feel like it's aesthetic reason. Now you see commercials and very expensive, maybe commercial work being shot in Super 8, and it's more, you know, a hype reason. But when you're filming the story that you're filming with those cameras and that particular scene that you are mentioning, is really that what you're trying to portray is the off record, is what you don't see in a film. That will normally go into the making of clip of a film instead of to the film itself. But in this case, we're showing what's behind the walls, what's happening at home, what doesn't often is in front of the camera. So it's brilliant.
Well, guys, it's a 2:10, nearly 2:15 actually in Scotland. I think with Zoom we have up to 80 minutes of meeting, or well, something like that. So Maria, the thing would be, the other guest today, Alberto Vazquez, has been here. His collaborator, Chris Tembe, has been twice. Maider has been as well with us. She ended up driving well, not driving, but getting into the wheel of a British cab, you know. So it's a matter of when are you going to finish something so we have any excuse to bring you over.
And we can.
we tried last year, didn't we? We tried to get to Manchester, but it wasn't suitable.
Yes, I couldn't, but I would really like to come. And I was also very happy when you wrote me talking about this Sunday online meeting, because I wanted to also see your faces. And I don't know, I hope to finish my next movie in a near future, like, but maybe 2 years or something like that.
We'll find the excuse, I guess. We need to wait for the world to be normal again, and don't worry about rushing any project. We will find the excuse, Maria. Rafa and I were chatting just before the Vermut, and Rafa was telling me, of course, Maria, she made Ancora Luciole. Wow, this is what he said, no? And we were both incredibly overwhelmed by the beauty of Ancora Luciole, and we really look forward to see more of your work, and hopefully have you in Scotland.
I would really like to. Why not?
If Maider is watching us, just a quick pull of her ears for not being here with us. I think the excuse was good. A family paella or something like that, or rice that he had to cook. But it's a pity. I would love to speak with her about the last film and what's going to happen to it. Anyway, shall we leave it there? Do you have any questions, Alberto? Any other thing?
No. Cautious about time, so yeah. Maria, thanks for joining us.
And Fiona.
Thank you for the invitation, and thank you, Fiona. I'm sorry for.
No. Don't apologize for speaking English perfectly. It was really great to listen to you. Really interesting.
Thank you.
Eskerrik asko, Maria. Eskerrik asko. Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you.
Cheerio.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. Well,
Bye.
bye. Will I just leave as well then, guys?
Venga.
So Rafa, I'm gonna get my week back, and we finish. Well, we keep talking about the last two short films that also are a very good pair to talk about, no?
So we have 7:35, Nacho Vigalondo. This film is from the beginning of the century, isn't it? Or even it's a 19th century?
7:35. Let's take a look. It was a milestone. I think it was the third Spanish short film to be nominated for an Oscar. And it was really in a couple of years, we have like 2-3 Spanish short films nominated to the Oscar. But as we were saying at the beginning, 735 is just a film that plays in so many levels. People just like it because it's funny, because you get the song, you know, it's so catchy. It puts a smile in your face. But it's also playing with the mechanisms of cinema and, you know, early filmmakers to depict and to play, you know, from the black and white to the musical itself, the musical genre. No doubt is one of the, I think is at the top, is the most voted film this week.
Is it? I'm not seeing, I cannot see everything at the same time, so.
In a way, if you see these last 2 short films work very well, because the whole program is a question out to the audience and they can answer and comment. But it's like, are you waiting for 4:50 p.m. like in Chema García Ibarra's El ataque de los robots de Nebulosa 5 for the end of the world that will happen at 10:05 in the afternoon? Or are you waiting for 7:35 in the morning? That optimism, that kind of, you know, blast of optimism and singing. You don't have to answer one or the other. You can like both. But in a way, with these films, we were playing with those 2 things. Are you waiting for 10 to 5 or 7:35 in the morning? Actually, Alonso, and after this, obviously, right after did the Time Crimes, and he became a cult director instantaneously.
Yes. Well, it's a pity that we let Maria Elorza leave before going over some of the comments, because the comments from Maria Suarez, from Alexandra Chittel, about the Gure Ormek, the film, the interviews, it's great. There's so many comments and so many people watching.
We can put it to Maria, and she can get back to us and answer to our Maria Suarez and Alexandra Chittel, no problem.
Yes, and then last but not least, a
very special one for us, no?
El ataque de los robots de Nebulosa 5.
What a gem. What a fantastic film. And we were playing with the codes. Alberto Vazquez animation is, you know, into fantasy and fantastic genre, and then 735. But Chema García Ibarra in this film is just a total blast.
Can I put a clip of it? Just a few seconds.
Go ahead.
Hold on a second. Let's see if I manage. I am trying to. Here. This is where he gets his vision.
Los robots me hablaron sobre ellos, su mundo y su ataque. Dijeron que nada puede evitar la destrucción, pero nos daban la oportunidad de empezar de nuevo. Un lugar, una hora y un elegido para salvar a unos pocos. Yo.
The Chosen, no? And
the chosen one.
The Chosen One. It touches in so many elements, really. It's a film that is seeking outside, no? All the time, obviously. Like the character, everything is so deliberately, you know, because you can tell, oh, the black and white, the grainy, the photography, the acting, everything is so low cost, low fee, and that is exactly what Chema Ibarra wants to do. Is so deliberately low key, at the same time aiming so high, so universally to different worlds. We were showing Luis Lopez Carrasco Aliens and some other films that will be coming next week that are guys that are bored of this world, this boring world, and need a communication with an outer world, with ovnis, with El Más Allá. And it has an unusual, you know, there's this surface of homemade local film, and beyond that, again, like Vigalondo, he's playing with some of the great masters of cinema, and he has a depth you know, a cosmic depth that is overwhelming.
But in content, it would be the one closest to Brutal Relax. What the rendering of the film, the way that kind of extraterrestrial presence is expressed can be different, can be more different. And the Chema García Ibarra is that subtle, is that really you get into it. The main character is his nephew, isn't he?
Cousin or nephew he always plays with family, local streets, local surroundings.
His sofa is just brutal. Absolutely everything he's done is brutal. And we were talking with Maria Elorza about the catalog of CinemaAttic, this fantastic annual collection of the best short films from the Basque Country. This year, Chema García Ibarra is in it. And it's a pity when we will know the situation we are, because I think it's less than a month now that we were going to launch this program, the 15th of May. But
that's not happening.
It's not happening. No, it's not happening in May. It's not happening probably in June, but it will happen.
But there is a trajectory that makes so much sense. And obviously, we love the work of Chema so much that this is not the last film we will be showing. I think Misterio is in the selection in a couple of weeks. And you see the attack of the robots, and it continues when you see Uranus, when you see Protopartículas, when you see La Disco Resplandece, Misterio, all his films. Such a, you know, coordinated and well expansion of the same themes, the same philosophy. And he's preparing his first film, so hopefully we can have a chat with him about how this is impacting Espíritu Sagrado, his first film. But it's such a crazy combination of traditional elements, almost Azcona, but Buñuel, surrealism, and then, you know, Holy Bible, mystery, you know, is all this holy, mysterious universe mixed with an art that is made by his best partner, Leonor Diaz, because a good credit goes for her. You know, when you see the bottle of champagne in the attack of the robots, when you see those drawings, when you see in the last film, Las Cartas Ocaso, the singing, the swimming pool, the whole atmosphere, the whole art, that universe has so much to thank to Leonor, art director and partner of Chema. And they're such a great couple on creating this universe that is cosmic, extraterrestrial, but it's local. It happens always in Elche, in your street.
All the elements of normal society, you know, in Spain, or the remains of a Catholic past, the kind of the rural depressions, the unemployment, when the discoteca resplandece. It's amazing how realistic a picture he can get of young generations in rural areas of Spain, you know.
There is yeah, sorry, go ahead, Rafa.
And even the figure of the alien here, expecting an invasion to finish with all this, if you want to take it as a metaphor, it would be quite a heavy one, no? Let's finish with this.
And totally, and both, like we were barely touching on humor, but the whole program this week had so many types of comedy and humor. And these last two, the robots and 735, 735, they have such a special sense of humor. Like that one when he's in el descampado, in the lot, just, you know, waiting for the aliens to come. And the guy comes with the neighbor, you know.
His neighbor, who's gonna have a bad death, a painful death.
Yeah. There is an interview, because every week we, in our website, most of you maybe have checked it out, but every week we present the films, we put the films so you can see them. And there is a line where we tell you, if you want to know more about the films, check the programming notes or the context or the extended materials. And if you go and check it, we put together biographies and a bit more of our opinion on the film. So if these Vermuts seem too short, 90-minute Vermut, you can go and check them. And in the particular case of the attacks and in Chema García Ibarra, we highlight two interviews, one by Criterion the famous website DVD release criterion. And there's another one of O Magazine that is titled Sci-Fi at the Lidl Parking Lot, interview with Chema Garcia Ibarra. And I think the interview is brilliant on what we were saying, you know, local, everyday life, costumbrismo, and a sort of sci-fi, hoping for ET, for the extraterrestrials, for the ovnis to come and destroy the world. There is magic, the combination in every of his films. So yeah, again, the whole film or the whole program, I think, was a balance between singing optimism, although there is an explosion at the end of 7:35, and the otherworldly influence of an apocalypse that is about to come, that is shown in Bird Boy and in The Attack of the Robots. Rafa.
Dime, Alberto, dime. I think we are doing well today. It's 27 minutes past 2, and we could leave it there easily, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it's so fulfilling to see everyone that is commenting and leaving so beautiful comments about Gure Ormek, about Bird Boy, about the films, seeing Saskia watching the films and voting, Jordi, Monica, but new people like Marcia, Lorena Cordero, Ogen Clarkson, Auro, like so many, Luz, so many people that are now usuals, and we don't know them. I don't know them in person. I don't remember their faces, and are following every week, are voting. Helen Brown, obviously Ana Choucinho, Isabel Croissant, so many people that are following, voting, and some of them I don't know them. Manny Militello, so many people that I don't know, but I want to meet them soon if I can. Some of them are in Manchester, London, Madrid. But the whole experience of this Cuarentena, to me, is very fulfilling to keep that conversation with people every time the votes come in, the comments here in the Vermut. So thanks, really, everyone.
That's the whole matter. Keep in touch, keep doing what we really like, showing films, talking about films, and getting to speak with people and spread the word.
I've seen some people doing snaps of how they spend in the Vermut, and then they put it into Instagram, in the stories, or in Twitter with the hashtag CinemaAttic Vermut. So if you haven't, please do so. I'll put one with my croquetas and my pacharan. And really, thanks everyone for these 90 minutes of connection with the audience. What do we have next week, Rafa? Next week is again a lot of comedy, no?
Well, yeah, we have a packed program. It will go live tonight, tomorrow morning. Yes, it's comedy. It's a bit like this one. It's that kind of comedy, the laugh about it.
It's true.
And then we will be here a week today at 1 p.m. British time, 2 p.m. Barcelona time, Madrid time.
Yes, there is comedy. There is more Latin flavor because we have Argentinian films, Cuban, Brazilian, Cuban films. It's really a special program. Again, touching on documentary, again on feminism in your face and subtle feminism, but really a lot of films rethinking women's history. So much needed message.
But this Cuban film in particular is very interesting on human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Alberto, shall we leave it there or shall we keep talking?
Let's leave it there. So nice to share our love for films with you, for this particular side of Spanish cinema, often forgotten and that we reclaimed for 10 years. And we're going to keep reclaiming these small, great treasures, gems. Rafa, have a lovely Sunday. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much for Symphony, guys. See you soon. See you next week.
The sun is coming out. Let's go outside. No. Well,
you can go out for 30 minutes.
No. I'm going to
see you later, alligator.
Bye, Rafa. Bye everyone.
Everybody.